Okay, hello, hello, hello. Hopefully the sound is working. Hold on. Okay, it sounds like it's working. Maybe? Is the echo up again? How? Okay, I'm gonna have to play with I have to play with this for a second. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, how you doing? Welcome to Words Have Power. We deal with gremlins often. Okay, let's try this other way. This should be right. Yes, okay, good. All right, we got it. Man, I tell you, if it's not one thing, it's another. Okay. All right. All right. First off, first and foremost, oh, thank you, Amanda. All right. Straight off the bat, I usually wait a few minutes, about 15 minutes or so, to kick off on the actual topic of a conversation because of the algorithm. There are things I will talk about that I have to wait to talk about them, because certain algorithms don't like it when certain things are said. Okay. So if you're going to come into my comment section and complain about that, ultimately, I'm not the person you should complain to. You should complain to YouTube because I don't have any control over that. I do this for a reason in this way. Also, if you come and decide to email me, extremely angry because I'm talking about your so-called religion, yet again, I'm not the person you should be angry at. I did not create Scientology or any other religion. And it's not my fault if there are problems in your religion. Okay? So, and also just an FYI, just to let people know, when you send an email to someone in all caps, that signifies that you are yelling at that person, and I don't typically respond to that. I just delete and block, and you're done. That's it. That's all there is. That is my response to people yelling at me. Hey, Maki. All right. So I handle my videos a little bit differently from how other content creators do who are in the SPTV sphere. Because I'm talking about things that concern ABUSE, I have to wait for a period of time before we really dive into the topic, because I'm going to use words that will have a certain kind of effect in the algorithm that are negative, and I don't want that to happen, because I'm here to help people. I'm here to disperse information and educate people and try to help people who are in certain situations understand that it's not their fault. They are not to blame. And they are worthy of and deserve happy, healthy lives where they are treated with respect. That's the point of what I'm doing here. That is the whole point. And I also talk about cases and situations where people were harmed. And I do that because I'm an ex-victims advocate, and an ex-sheriff's deputy out of Orleans Parish Criminal Sheriff's Office, and I worked in private security for a lot of years. So I've worked disaster relief, um, security for celebrities and stuff, and a bunch of other things. So so I'm coming at this from a little bit of a different perspective. So last night I talked about the 2 families, um, that I've been trying to help educate about Scientology. And there was a little bit of a sit-down conversation with them and 2 other friends of mine that I introduced to these families, and I call these ladies the Valkyrie. I call them that for a reason. Um, and there was a little bit of a, "You need to use your degree and all your training to explain the abuse tactics that are prevalent in Scientology." I'm paraphrasing what was said, but I get what they were saying, but it's a lot. Scientology has done a lot, so I'll probably have to take this in portions. As I'm talking about this and I'm talking about Scientology, I'm not just talking about Scientology. That's not I'm also talking about DV situations and other toxic, destructive groups. Um, so really, in reality, you can substitute the word Scientology for your SO or your SO's mom or your brother or your parents or, your church that is not Scientology. And I wanna make that very apparent. Now, on my communities tab, I posted on there a book list, and it starts off with a book called Why Does He Do That? It is a phenomenal book, and I highly recommend it to anyone who's ever been in a toxic situation because it's so good. It's one of my favorite books. It's been a favorite for a long time. I've read it multiple times on Audible and a physical copy of the book. And also there's Stephen Hassan's book, and there are 2 of his books, and Daniela Young. I can't for the life of me say her middle name because it's just one of those names. um, yeah, so if you're going to email me, please don't use all caps and please don't come at me like you're going to come at me, because if that is going to happen, I'm going to get police involved. I'm not going to tolerate any level of BS. Okay? And if I need to remind people about Red Lipstick Guy and what went down with that, and then the other 2 idiots, I can do that. That's fine. Red Lipstick Guy is still in prison, by the way. So okay, so y'all may hear my little one in the background. She is in bed. She's like right here. I can hear her, and if anything comes up, I will go see what she needs. Man, this cough is really something. Okay. So, she's 6. She's 6 and she has school tomorrow. So I kind of I need to try to do this quickly, this live stream, but at the same point, I have to wait for a certain time period. I don't have control over the algorithm, is all I can say. What I can say is, wow, that email, man, that person was riled up. Listen, just because I'm saying Scientology is an extremely toxic organization, it doesn't mean that I'm talking about you personally. Unless you've been up to something. Have you been up to something that you shouldn't be? If you're taking it personally, why? You should ask yourself, why? Just saying. Okay. All right. So, and I'm tempted to share that email. I'm really tempted. I have to figure out how to block the name out because I don't like doxing people, but this person's lucky I don't like to dox people. That's all I can say. Okay. Hello to everyone that's here. How you doing? If you don't mind, hit that like button for me. I would greatly appreciate it. My throat is a little bit like not happy, so my voice is a bit rough. Just an FYI. I'm sitting here watching the time like, okay, can we move along now? I just want to dig into it, but thank you to everyone who commented. I appreciate it. Even the not so nice comments, it's fine. It's engagement. It's cool. Honey lemon and herbal tea. Yeah, that's what I did last night. I'm gonna do it tonight too. Yeah, because this cold or whatever is pretty intense. Like Marcus actually took 2 days off of work, and he never does that. So like he doesn't. I think I've seen him sick twice in 10 years. So. Okay, I'm going to call it and say we're fine now. Okay. So in any toxic situation, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, probably 1,000 times. Anyone can be abused and anyone can be the abuser. And the abuser doesn't have to be just one person. It can be a family that is abusive. It can be a knitting circle. It can be any kind of church or religious group. It can be an SO. It can be a friend. So, yeah, yes, I will be doing that. Yes, I will. Because I feel like I could lose my voice if I'm not careful. So, okay, so there are different tools that abusers will use. It's almost like there's a playbook. And guess what? There actually is a playbook. There is a group that has policies and procedures that are put into place specifically to cause harm to people. 8 times? No, it hasn't been that much. No, it has not. You very rarely get sick. It is a rare thing. Okay, back on topic. There's one particular tool that abusers will use that is extremely destructive to the victim or victims. It is psychologically destructive, psychologically, emotionally, socially, financially, in just about any way you can think of. This thing is extraordinarily destructive, and that is setting you up to fail. Some people call it moving the goalpost. Same thing. So over the years, as I have been researching Scientology to better understand it, why people get sucked into it, how people get sucked into it, what it does to people, and how, like, the lengths that people have to go through to escape out of it. I've noticed the commonality between this destructive group and DV. Now, as an ex-victims advocate and also as an ex-sheriff's deputy, I saw DV every single day. There are many correlations between these destructive groups and DV. And the reason I keep talking about this, and I'm going to keep talking about this, is so that people will understand just how toxic these groups are. And I need people to understand that anyone can be sucked into a cult. You know, people will have this preconceived notion that if you're really smart, you're not going to get sucked in. You're going to see what's coming, and it's not going to happen. That is so not true. In fact, I've read several papers that distinctly say the more intelligent you are, the more susceptible you might be to being sucked into certain kinds of cults, like Nixium, for example. Scientology. There are several that have sucked really intelligent, amazing people into their cult. Please tell me the mic is still working. I'm so worried that something's going to stop working. All right. Okay. So let's discuss being set up to fail. And we're using Scientology as an example. So please bear in mind, I've never been in Scientology. I'm a never in, so I'm not going to know all the language. I'm just not, okay? Thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. Thank you, Sophie. Okay, good to see y'all. So I'm trying to, I want to use an example, but I don't want to trigger anyone. Okay, so let's say you're a member of Scientology. And in Scientology, anything bad that happens to you, according to Scientology, you pull in. If something bad happens to you, you pulled that in, that's your fault. Let's say you're diagnosed with cancer. You did not tell your body to develop cancer. By telling you that anything that bad happens to you, you suck that in, that is setting you up to fail. Straight off the bat. There's a lovely lady. Her name is Tori Magoo 44. She has a page or a channel on YouTube. She had epilepsy. They were trying to force her off of her meds. And I really hope that she doesn't mind me talking about this. But they were trying to force her off of her epilepsy meds, which is not a good thing. So from the very beginning, she was set up to fail in that she has epilepsy, so she must have pulled that in herself. What? And then trying to remove her from her meds that she shouldn't need them anymore because of the Scientology technology. I'm not going to cuss. When she starts having seizures, grand mal seizures, and when she ends up in the hospital and all these bad things are happening, they then tell her it's her fault. She did something wrong. She didn't do the technology right. So she's to blame for what has happened. Not the fact that they told her to stop taking her meds. That all of that is setting her up to fail, and at the same time moving the goalpost. That's what, like, moving the goalpost is always going to be part of that. So when you're in toxic situations like this and you have all these traumatic things happening and you are being victim blamed, you're blamed for everything. That stacks trauma on trauma on trauma on trauma, and it builds and it builds. That's how you end up with PTSD. And if you're a child when bad things are happening, then you can develop CPTSD. I'm not a shrink, although I do love shrinks, so apparently I'm definitely an SP. I just declare myself an SP. Fuck it. All right, we're fine. It's fine. So, according to Scientology's so-called technology, if you are a child and something bad is done to you, you pulled that in. So they're setting children up to fail. So if you're born into Scientology, and or if you're a minor who's brought into Scientology and you have no choice in the matter because you're a child, right? Just think about it for a minute. Okay. All right, so they consider children to be tiny adults. No understanding of or consideration of childhood brain development. The fact that infants can't speak and don't know how to talk and don't understand your language. None of that matters. I only recently found out that their whole thing with reincarnation extends to the point that they think you can drop your body, that's what they call dying, you can drop your body and arrange it to be reborn into the unborn child of someone you have agreed to. Whoa. Hold on. I don't even know if I'm explaining this right. This is so batshit crazy that I don't even know if I'm... I need some coffee. Hey, if you got it, drink it, because it just gets weirder as we go along, okay? All right, so you die. You drop your body. Your soul, or what they call a thetan, you can... If I'm wrong, someone please correct me. But this is... I still haven't processed this yet. Apparently, you can make arrangements with somebody who's pregnant so that when you drop your body, you pick up their unborn child's body. So then they expect that unborn child to be that person that died, that child never even knew. And that makes me think of the idea of like a Buddhist Dalai Lama or something, but without any vetting process to see like any... It doesn't sound like there's very much thought put into that or anything. I am confusion when it comes to this, but this to me sounds like maybe that's part of the reason they treat children the way they do with the forced labor and all of that. So that effectively you are setting an unborn child up for failure before they're even born. Sweet baby Hiru, are you... That's a level of toxic that like I'm probably going to start writing something out just to kind of try to these people have got... Listen. As a parent, That's an awful lot of pressure to place on a child that isn't even born yet. But then also after the child is born, I have questions. I have a lot of questions. What expectations are going to be placed on that child then? Like what? And then when I factor in for the whole, what was it, billion-year contract with the Sea Org, this kind of unlocked a whole different legendary level of questioning for me. When I watched, there was a video where somebody was speaking about this, and I was like, just what? Okay, so if you have an organization with a whole big group of people and they set up standards that are impossible, you can never meet all of those standards. There's no way. We're human. There's no way any human being can ever meet those levels of expectations. That is an automatic. You have automatically been set up to fail from the jump. Possibly even before you were in Scientology, because anything you did in the past can and will be used against you in what is called auditing. But then also, if you are LGBTQ+, then then they're going to say you have to fix that. You have to handle that. That's not something you can change about yourself. But they expect you to. They expect you to just be celibate, be a monk, just devote all of your time and attention to this destructive, highly toxic group that does not care about you at all. Okay. Now, here's a question that one of the family members asked me. I keep thinking every time I cough, I must have pulled that cold into me. I didn't, but here we are. Anyway, oh God. Okay, if the goal of Scientology is to clear the planet, and if it could take each individual person thousands upon thousands of dollars, if not millions, to go up the bridge and do all of these things, complete all of these courses and all of the auditing, and there's something called sec checking. I might be saying that wrong. It's like security checking. You have to be audited for breathing, apparently. and you have to pay for all of that. And then too, on top of it, they might decide that they made a mistake with some of their technology, so they have to republish it if it's like a book or a video or something like that, like a course. So then you have to re-buy it. They don't just be like, oh, you bought it, but we made a mistake, so here's the new thing. No, you have to re-buy it. You have to repurchase it. So you have to spend more money because it's all about the money, Lebowski. Hey, Tina, it's good to see you. How you doing? I really missed y'all, by the way. Okay, so I have so many questions. If you have to spend out all of this money, a majority of the population of this world is not going to be able to afford all of that. And they're not going to want to enter into the psychopathy that is the Sea Org. So how are you going to clear the whole planet? And my response to that was, they're not going to, and that's not the goal. They say that's the goal, but they're gaslighting you. They're gaslighting you. They're saying that's the goal, but it's not the goal. It is setting you up for failure from the get-go. And setting you up for failure is like the glue It appears to be the glue that binds Scientology together, to me, as an outside observer. So, in their thought process that they're going to clear the whole planet, they're not accounting for people who have absolutely no interest in being in Scientology in the first place. People way out in the middle of nowhere who've never heard of Scientology. It's not even a thought. Here's my opinion, which I am entitled to. My opinion of Scientology is they are full of feces, like to the eyeballs. And I'm talking about especially the higher ups, the people who actually know what is going on. And I have to wonder if certain short people actually believe what Scientology is preaching and putting out there, or if it's just a money cash grab, because it looks like a money cash grab to me. Okay. There can never be enough coffee for this conversation. Okay. Wait, what? Hold up. You have to explain this one to me. Do you mean outside of Scientology? And what FDA requirements? Wait, what? Okay, you're going to give me the skinny. I need to know. What? I'm still wondering how they have tax exempt status. You've got child labor, you've got covering up CSA, SA, SH. They've covered up, they've had a serial unaliver in Scientology that they covered up for. You've got a serial R, several of them actually. Physical, psychological, mental, emotional. I mean, every form of toxicity that I can think of, it's in Scientology. They wrote the requirements for the FDA that the FDA uses for our ish. What? Do you have any links to any materials talking about? I'll look it up, but now I need to know, because that is a problem. That might explain some things about the FDA too, if that's true. Which I don't understand, because Scientology infiltrated. Oh, God. I'm going to have to go down a rabbit hole. We're going to have to do several videos. Yeah, I was in criminal justice as well. Food and such, because I didn't take business law. I was in criminal justice as well. I've never heard that. Now I'm going to have to look that up, because that is we don't need Scientology anywhere near any of that ever. No. I apologize. I did not mute. All right. So when hello, Brian. How you doing? Scientology went on a letter writing campaign to harass the tax offices. The tax offices eventually gave in to Scientology and just said, stop writing us. Yeah, they did. That was they did way more than that, though. They were like, their allegations, and I think I've read so many books that I can't remember which book it was in, but there was something to do with, because they like to hire private investigators and dig into people's lives and their garbage, literally, and they like to blackmail people, all kinds of things to silence people. And there were allegations that they had done that to some of the people in the government to get that tax exempt status. So that's a definite conflict of interest if you've got all of these allegations, very serious allegations against Scientology. But if the government, if anyone in the government is being buddy-buddy with Scientology, that's a problem. Put a pin in that, because we're going to be talking about that. Probably not in this live stream, because I am putting together a timeline of something, but we're going to be talking about, oh boy, do I have a bone to pick with law enforcement. I don't think they're ready. Now, in this one, I wanted to talk about the abuse tactics that Scientology uses as a prep for a stream, several streams coming up. And also in this particular live stream, I want to say something. I don't know if the people involved will ever see this video or the one from last night. The two families that I was talking about and their friends, this is a lot of people. Okay, so when we're doing a Zoom call, it'll be a bunch of us on the Zoom call, but then other people in the Zoom, and sometimes myself, will have people on FaceTime watching the Zoom call. They just don't know how to access the Zoom thing. A couple of those people are in retirement homes, so it's easier just to have them on FaceTime so they can participate. So this is a lot of people, okay? And I hate the fact that I even have to say this, but I feel the same way. All of these people no longer trust the Aftermath Foundation for when their family comes out of Scientology because of the tactics that Scientology uses. And part of the reason I'm talking about the subject of setting someone up to fail is because the board that's on the Aftermath Foundation right now, many of them were high up in what is called OSA. There's OSA, and then there's the Sea Org. From what I can tell, there seems to be some overlap between the two divisions, or hopefully my eye doesn't start twitching, okay? So you got these high up executives who in Scientology had a lot of pull, and then they come out, and then they become high up board members of a foundation. And if one of the tactics that was used was setting someone up to fail, and they're on the board that is supposed to help people to get out of that toxic situation, if they haven't been in and are currently in trauma therapy in particular, then will they continue to use these tactics on anyone who speaks out about concerns to do with the Aftermath Foundation? Will they use those tactics on people who are coming out of the board? And then there's a thing that is really bothering me. And it has been bothering me. And the Valkyrie actually brought this up, both of them, almost in unison. If you're just coming out of Scientology and you see that Mike Rinder is on the board and maybe you had some bad run-ins with him, are you going to go to that foundation for help? I wouldn't want to. If I were in that position, I would absolutely not. But then let's take it a step further. Let's say you were born into Scientology, bad things happened, and those things were covered up. You were victim blamed and victim shamed. You were told it was your fault. And then with everything that's happening right now with the Aftermath Foundation, would you be less likely or more likely to go to the Aftermath Foundation for help? This is a problem. And my cat is going to start scratching on the chair. I will be right back. I don't think you saw my kitty running through the room like, oh my God. Okay. Check into the e-meter also. Yes, I've read about that. I've seen, like there's a video where they're using that and it's, what? Okay, so I talked before about the fact that lie detector tests don't actually work. They don't. They're not admissible in a court of law. They're not. And an e-meter is like, oh God. I'm trying to keep it together, but man, let's consider for a minute that Scientology was started by a dude who was hugely prolific in his sci-fi novel writing. And to be clear, I've actually read 2 of his books. I didn't know what Scientology was at the time. I didn't know who L. Ron Hubbard was at the time. I had no idea. I was a kid. They were 2 of the worst books I have ever read. I took it as a challenge to make it through those 2 books, and they were immediately returned back to the used bookstore. And I was like, man, that was bad. That sucked. It was so bad. It wasn't even funny. Man. So therefore, Thetans and whatever bad things happened to you, you pulled in and all this and that. It all came from a sci-fi writer, baby. He was a con artist. He was brutal to his own family. That's the foundation of this so-called religion. And that's documented. So the fact that there are so many abuse tactics in Scientology, when I consider the source, right? The source. Oh, he's the source. You're right. You're damn straight. You are 1000% correct. He is the source of massive amounts of abuse tactics that are purposefully put into place in policies and procedures of this religion. He's the source of all kinds of trauma. Oh wow. I don't, does that have like a nickname? There are so many that have that same or similar names that I get them confused. But if I could, I would give you a hug. Okay, so he's the source of children being SA'd and the church covering it up. If you really want to understand any organization like this, or like Nixium, or any of the other toxic groups, all you have to do is look at the person who founded it, the founding con artists, and then you will understand why everything is the way it is. So with the Aftermath Foundation, I'm relaying a message from people who have donated to the Aftermath Foundation and have been very supportive of the Aftermath Foundation. I'm just relaying a message. When I kind of broke it down of who Mike Render is and what he did in Scientology, and other people who were also high up in Scientology, when I broke that down, it was an immediate no from the families. When I say that this looks bad to people who have never been in Scientology, especially, that's a drastic understatement. The Aftermath Foundation it's needed. There should be more groups like this to help people. Also, if you were in Scientology, or if you are currently in Scientology and you want out, you can get out. You don't have to go to the Aftermath Foundation, although if you feel safe doing so, do it. Okay, every little bit of help helps. But I also want to make it clear that the National DV Hotline and RAINN.org, RAINN.org, if you are a victim of CSA or a victim of R or any of that, they can help you find resources that have nothing to do with the Aftermath Foundation. They may not, I don't know, just as a point of clarification, I don't know if they have training to deal with ex-cult members. I'm thinking they probably do. But I happen to know for a fact they don't turn anyone away that needs help. Just putting that out there. And they have databases. They have, databases of like resources and all of that. They have and they're some of the most patient human beings on the face of the planet, because many of them are survivors as well, or they had loved ones that were survivors or didn't make it out. So, yeah, I think that's when they got the tax exempt status, and they were like all freaking out and stuff. We won the war. You need to have like a war where you bust out some logic and critical thinking and actual science. And more than likely, everyone in Scientology probably needs trauma therapy, but they have been set up to fail, to think that anyone who is a therapist is evil. They're set up to fail from the very beginning. It's encoded and embedded into Scientology. And we're going to be talking about this right here now for a minute, because this is really important. This is part of the reason I'm doing this live stream in particular. Oh, Lord. Okay. In the policies and procedures of Scientology, automatically you are told that the psychs are bad. By the psychs, they mean psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, trauma therapists, counselors, social workers, all of that. Evil, evil, bad, bad. So that They can take full advantage of you and do whatever they want, and you're not going to have any means of learning real tools that will actually help you overcome the trauma and get yourself into a place of healing. They're telling you the thing that could help you will hurt you, because they are the only ones who have the key to all of the knowledge of the universe. They know everything, and they have the technology that will fix you. Meanwhile, you have people who are having nervous breakdowns, unaliving themselves, unaliving other people. The divorce rate is apparently astronomical in Scientology. That's how great they are with helping people with their problems. Danny Masterson is a prime example of how great Scientology is. I'm just, do y'all see what I'm saying? Like, I'm finding out that somebody who dies or drops their body can take over the body of an unborn child blew my mind. And this just happened today. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, what? Just when I think I can't possibly get any crazier, it does. What in the actual F? Okay. I need some chat time. I need some interaction with the chat, because I can't. I don't. Oh my God. When I heard that, I was like, I thought we talked about this. No, not this particular thing. I knew that they thought that L. Ron Hubbard would come back. I knew that was a thing. No, do you mean the billion-year contract? That's a different thing. Oh, God. Maybe I should make up my own religion. Oh, man. It's just like, it seems like every time I think about or like start looking more into Scientology, there's more insanity. That's what it feels like. Like, what next? A puppy can take over your body or something and like run around barking? Like, what the oh, God. The soul contract thing. This stuff is just... So apparently there was like there was an elderly guy who wanted to take over the body of an unborn child or something. As soon as I heard that, I think my brain just like went like tweaked and was like, what the actual fuck am I listening to? What happened? Who did what? Okay. I'm actually not trying to make fun of anyone who is a Scientologist. I don't understand. I've had the same reaction to certain things about Christianity and other religions. Sounds like, yeah, well, I think it seems like the whole idea of body thetans and thetans in general, like that's the thing. Like it seems like they're the equivalent of a demon. I really wish we could have somebody on here sometime who is a former Scientologist, because I have so many questions. Just so many questions. I maybe they would cancel each other out. You might be onto something. And by Christians, we're talking about the toxic, false prophets and all that. We're not, we're not talking about the wonderful people who actually open their churches to let homeless people have a warm place to sleep. That's totally a different thing. Me too. Very much so. Very much so. Okay, so yes, we have to make that very clear. I don't know, man. It's the more I learn about Scientology, the more I'm blown away. And for those of you who have been subscribed for a while, we're going to go down a bit of a rabbit hole for those two families in particular, because on the one hand, they want to learn more about Scientology and all of that. Right on. But here's the thing that is concerning to me because of what's going on with the board of the Aftermath Foundation. They don't trust people who are ex-Scientologists. And they don't seem to want to hear anything about Scientology, I should say, to clarify. They don't want to hear anything about Scientology from former Scientologists, which I think is too limiting. Because I've never been in, I don't have the language memorized. I'm not, I would not count myself as an expert. Tonight, I just really wanted to talk about the setting you up to fail thing, because that really bothers me. Because always, immediately after the whole setting you up to fail thing, when you call them out for setting you up to fail, they will DARVO every time. DARVO is deny and or deflect, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. And DARVO is psychologically destructive. And I have a feeling that all of the abuse tactics that are used, that's why so many people have nervous breakdowns or mental crises from being in Scientology. And then once you get out, all of the harassment that they can do to you after you've gotten out, well, that just makes it even worse, doesn't it? Yeah, I see. Deflection and denial go hand in hand with DARVO. They're twins. They're twins, and they work together. So here's another question that was asked by several of the family members. How can people who have been heavily traumatized, and that's all that's on the board of the Aftermath Foundation, is people who've been heavily traumatized, if they're still on the healing path, how can they really fully achieve the goals of helping people who are just coming out, right? And I need people to understand that the healing journey can take decades. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And even if you got out, let's say you got out 30 years ago, you could still need therapy to deal with things because new things will come up that maybe you didn't even think about or consider, didn't even cross your mind. And then you're like, oh, wait. I know that Scientology says that therapy is evil. The psychs are bad and evil. Telling you that is setting you up to fail, especially if you leave. I'm begging you, please, if you're listening to this and if you have gotten out, please go to therapy. Find a therapist. Find the resources. Call RAINN, RANN.org, RANN.org. Hold on. RAINN.org. Boop. And somewhere I have the phone numbers for these. I have to find that Word doc and get everything set up again. But if there was RSA, any of those things, CR, CSA involved in your situation, call RAINN.org. Or also they have a website. They have all kinds of information on there. And the National DV hotline, both of these places you can call 24/7, 365, even on holidays. They are always up and running and there for you. There are times when it takes more time to get through for someone to help you, only because things like holidays, things like really big sports events like the Super Bowl, domestic violence shoots through the roof. Like, they get really, really busy. But be patient, stay on the line with them. And they also have a chat option on the National DV Hotline org on the website. And I think they also have one on RAINN. It's worth the wait because they have access to resources. They can help you find free or on a sliding pay scale or subsidized therapists. Sometimes it can take time to find the right therapist that is the right fit for you. It took me like 10 or 11 different therapists before I found the right one. And she was the golden key. She was the one who unlocked all kinds of tips and tricks and tools and having a space where you can just openly vent about all of it and talk it out is actually really healing. The problem is when you're told that it was your fault, even when it wasn't. The problem is the victim blaming, the victim shaming, the forcing you to talk about a traumatic experience with a person who is untrained, has no fucking clue what they're doing when it comes to helping you talk about the traumatic situation and asking you questions that are actually more traumatizing. So when somebody's saying, well, how did you make that happen? How did you pull that in? What was that? There was one question that was asked in a particular way that was really, horrific. It was something like, I'm trying to think of what it was now. How did you encourage that action to take place? No, that's victim blaming. If you were R'd or SA'd, ever, it was not your fault. You cannot take the blame for what someone else chose to do. And the fact that Scientology places the blame on the victim and really does not give a perpetrator any consequences. In fact, they might be promoted. That shows me everything I need to know about that so-called church. Okay. I'm going to put these up for a minute. These two groups are amazing, and there are other groups as well, but these are my usual go-tos. I also cannot let her excuses dampen what it was that she did. Who? What who did? Wait, what? Oh, hey, Luna. Is that Luna? I think you're Luna. Hold on. Where are my glasses when I need them? I can't see. I think that it... Okay, if you're Luna, I want a hug. I miss you. Okay, hi, baby. How you doing? And here's the National Domestic Violence Hotline. I love them. They all deserve medals. They all deserve free houses, a free house for each person, a car, and a fat bank account. Because they are doing the goddess's work. All right, I think let's just do some chat now. I'm going to step off of my soapbox. My brain was blown. Like several times I've heard of something from Scientology. I'm like, what the? Who said what where? Who thought this was a good idea? Oh, hold on. I know who. Yeah. No. Yep. She better hope I don't ever meet her. I would like to meet her in a dark alley somewhere. That would be fun for me. Then again, I have absolutely no sympathy for anyone who R's or SA's anyone. And it doesn't, this is a thing that does not have a gender. Okay. Can someone tell me who this is, please? I watch everything anti-Scientology and was on another channel, and this popped up in something I might like. Well, hello. My name is Shelly. Most people call me Words. I'm an ex-victims advocate and ex-sheriff's deputy, and I worked private security for a lot of years. And so basically what I'm doing is talking about the abuse tactics utilized by Scientology against Scientologists and anyone else that they don't like, really. And yeah, so and in part I'm doing this because I lost two friends who were sucked into Scientology, and I'm trying to help. Like, once this video is done, I will download it and send it to those families to help educate them, because many of them they're elderly. They're in retirement homes and whatnot, and they don't understand technology. They don't get it. So this is my way of trying to further educate people about abuse tactics, and also warn people that Scientology is batshit crazy. Also, I have to stipulate, I've never been in Scientology, so I might get some of the terminology wrong. There's every chance that that will happen. But if I do, please, by all means, correct me in the comments. It's a little bit overwhelming for somebody who's never been in that group. And this right here, if you've been R'd, SA'd, if you've been in a DV situation or a toxic group, it is not your fault. And in the community tab, I have a book list. I'll be adding to that. I highly recommend starting off with Why Does He Do That by, what's his name? Lundy Bancroft. His book is amazing, and you can switch out the pronouns, or you can, drop the pronouns altogether and just say, why does Scientology do that? You see what I'm saying? The book is amazing. I love that book. And then we go to, I think it's two of Stephen Hassan's books. The one that I have read so far was Combating Cult Mind Control. That's so good. And that goes into a young adult who gets sucked in to a toxic group. He got sucked into the Moonies. And then he has another book called Freedom of Mind, which is next on my list to read. I haven't read that yet, but I have a feeling it's going to be good. And then there's Daniela Young. Her book is Uncultured. Oh my God, such a huge crush on her brain. All of these people, their brains, I have huge crushes on their intelligence. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You know what? We understand typos here because they happen all the time. We call it the gremlins. The gremlins are rolling around. It's fine. It's good. It's all good. Several groups have talked about his book and have said it's amazing. Yeah, I used his, I'm not sure which his you're talking about, but I've used Lundy Bancroft's books in several papers that I wrote. I would quote him because he's spot on, And Stephen Hassan, I wish, I wish I'd had access to his books back when I was in college. He's so good. Yeah, Stephen Hassan has several interviews on YouTube. Oh my God, I would adore having him on for an interview. I would ask like a question and just let him run with it and just not say a damn thing and just take notes. So I'm so glad he got out of the Moonies because we need more people like him. Man, this coffee is good. Oh, baby. I know that's hard. And we love you. And I'm going to be streaming a lot more often. So if you need, we're here. And I do, I'm on Discord more. So if you need someone to talk with or chill with or whatever, if I'm not live streaming, just let me know, okay? I mean, grief is a motherfucker. Grief is a wild beast, and that is an understatement. So we understand. We're just sending you all kinds of love, all right? I know it's not the same as having that person with you, but I don't know. So, all right, it's been a little bit over an hour. Tomorrow, when baby girl is at school, I will be able to live stream a bit, more, and we're going to explore the videos. The next few live streams that I do are special requests. They are particular things that I was asked to hone in on and explain, and just break it down on a level that like an 80-year-old can fully understand. And just people who've never been in Scientology. Now, for the person who emailed me complaining that I'm just all about clout, politely and disrespectfully get fucked. This is not about clout. This is about love and care for two people who were amazing human beings when I knew them back in the day, and I'm sure they still are. It's also about their families, their friends, all of the loved ones that missed them. It is also about all the other families out there right now who are also missing their loved ones. It's also about all the people who are survivors. As Reese would say, fuck off into the forever. Oh, I love that. Who is Reese? I need to know this person. Hey, Carmen, how you doing? I need to know this person. Who is this person? I need a t-shirt that says that too. Shit. I really should come with a warning label anyway, so. Relatable Reese. That sounds familiar. Wait a minute. I think I want to say I have seen. There are so many content creators that I lose track. Effectively, there are so many victims of Scientology that I lose track. I think I might be subscribed to them, but I will check and make sure. That I love that term though. Fuck off into the forever. That is brilliant. That is beautiful. Love that. Love that. My warning label would read, warning, complaining about how I do things may be hazardous to your health. That is beautiful. That is a thing of beauty. And it is so true. Oh, God. Anytime I laugh, I start coughing. So I'm sorry, but that is beautiful and priceless, by the way. It's awesome. I love that sense of humor. Okay. All right. Okay, so we have what I'm going to try to do moving forward now that everything works. I'm going to try to do more live streams during the day when baby girl is at school. I know that many people may not be on during the day, but I'm also going to try to have a live stream in the evening. Because there is a massive metric fuck ton of things to go over with Scientology, and I'm going to have things up that I can read because it's also confusing and batshit crazy, that I just want to make sure that I get things right. But there are certain things that are constant and consistent within Scientology that are abuse tactics, and those things I already have them memorized from college and all of my certifications. So we're going to read out certain things and whatnot, and I'm going to point out the abuse tactics that are used and utilized in those situations. I don't think... Stephen Hassan has talked about some of the abuse tactics. And I think Dr. Ramani also, I think I saw one video where she was talking about that. She is amazing, by the way. If you're not following her, you should be. I adore her. She's a national treasure and she should be protected. So yes, I just want people to bear in mind that setting you up to fail is embedded in the very foundation of Scientology. But it's not just Scientology. It's NXIVM. It is certain branches of Christianity, certain branches of Islam, certain branches of Judaism, certain branches of Buddhism. I mean, it's in the corporate world, there are companies that set you up to fail. Certain aspects of law enforcement. Anywhere there's a group of people, there could be that one toxic person that messes it up for everybody. So what people don't realize about a silver tongue is that you are being caressed by those words. You're also being poisoned by it. Yes. That's a really good point, and that is very true. Okay. All right, y'all. We're going to have a lot of videos coming up that are going to be very interesting, and some of them I'm going to have to word them in such a way that I can start off the live stream from the beginning on the topic. But sometimes I will wait about 15 minutes before I really jump into it, because this app doesn't like certain words being said, and I have to say those certain words to get the point across. So if you don't like that, you can move along to the next content creator. There are a bunch of them out there. So it's fine. It's fine. I'm not even worried about it. But just so everyone knows, that's why I usually will pause at the beginning. I'll give people time to get the notification that I'm live streaming. All right. Also, please don't try to police how I run my channel. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, y'all. Do you want to do food section tonight? I know it's a Sunday. Most people are probably off doing whatever. But I'm about to go heat up some... What do I have? I have macaroni and cheese that has all of the yummy seasoning in there that Marcus made. I'm going to heat that up and chow down. Drink me some more yummy coffee. Somebody has a small penis and no muffler. All right. Man, it's a nasty cough. All right, I have no idea if I'm just lagging really hard or what's going on. Big truck, small phallus, big shoes, big phallus. No wonder we're all terrified of clowns. That's so good. That's funny. Well, I mean, what is your comfort food? That's kind of what I've been going for lately, is comfort food. When in doubt, go for comfort food. Oh boy. Man, earlier that conversation. The Valkyrie terrify me. Like, I low-key wish that they would go into the nearest Scientology building and just take it over already, because they probably could. Comfort food is macas? I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Sushi. I wish I could just try sushi one time. That would be awesome. I shouldn't say that on here because Scientology is evil. Oh, McDonald's. Okay. Yeah, that's not not healthy for you at all, or anyone really. Man, this cough. Tomorrow I might make some tea before live streaming because my throat feels really rough. It's what Australia calls McDonald's. Oh, okay. Right on. Can you tell I've never been to Australia? Although I would like to go someday. I would like to visit. That's one hell of an airplane trip, though. All right, y'all. Listen. If you're in an organization and they are automatically setting you up to fail from the very beginning, you should yeet that thing, the whole thing, into the sun. Can we just go to New Zealand? Hell yeah. I'm totally down. But if we're going to be that close to Australia, we should do both. While we have the opportunity, we can just do both. So you have the right to say no. Your no should be respected. And if it isn't, it's not your fault. And you have every right to walk away. And it shouldn't be a thing where you get attacked for walking away. That's not normal. It's just not normal. I'm going to order chicken gizzard. I've never understood the attraction to that. I don't get it. But if it makes you happy and it's comfort food. One second, y'all. Yeah, she's okay. She's coughing in her sleep. There's nothing more scary than a little one who is sick. Okay. Okay. I love y'all. Hopefully see y'all tomorrow. I'm sending everyone hugs that needs it. And really, it doesn't matter who you are or what group you have or have not been in or what have you. If you have been victim blamed or victim shamed, I'm sending you hugs. It was not your fault. You are not to blame. And you are loved. And you're valid. Okay. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hopefully. Love you. Bye.